Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Commander's Crypt. I've got an awesome video for you today. Today, we've got the Revenant Recon. But before we talk about that, how would you like a free box of food with 6 dinners, a whole week's worth of food? If you're interested, go ahead and hit us up at that email that you see right there. Send an email to me saying that you're interested, and we'll get you set up for about, $8 just for shipping. You get 6 free dinners for a week, and if you can cancel any time. So there you go. Without further ado, we will get into it. Revenant Recon, Surveil, and Resurrect Creatures includes Collector Booster Sample Pack plus 2 Legendary Traditional Foils. Let's see what it says. Watch your back. Battle your friends with powerful creatures and spectacular spells. Join Mirko Vosk in his tireless search for answers and play Surveil cards that trigger bonus effects. At the same time, fill your graveyard with an army of corpses and bring them back with a vengeance. Mirko, Obsessive Theorist, is a mind-manipulating vampire determined to unravel the true fate of House Demir and its shadowy guildmaster. Ooh, all right. So this one has a pull tab. The Mothman did not. It's weird how they decide how some of these have an easy pull tab and some don't. But anywho, let's see here. Let's see what we get with this. I always like to show everybody what's in the box, like Brad Pitt. What's in the box? So, case solved. Okay. And, what's this? Ooh, look at that. That's nice. Let me see. Okay, so that's your box for the cards. And there's your extra cards that they give you. And, okay, very interesting. It's got +1 counters on the back. And so that's that. So we'll get right into it. I hope you liked my video. I did a clue-based video. It was a whole clue deck with Garth One Eye. And so here's what you get with it. It's got a kind of a little poster here. Okay, so there you go. It's interesting to me that they have this for this, but they didn't have it for Fallout for the Mothman. I got the Mothman and it had none of this stuff. So anyway, let's see. You crack this, and then once we get this cracked, we will get on our way. My showgirl is not here today, Vanna White. She usually opens these packs for me. But, use my teeth. Sheesh. What's this thing? Childproof? Come on. There we go. Okay. All right, here we go. Mirko, Obsessive Theorist. Or in my case, the Obsessive Conspiracy Theorist. Okay, there we go. Pull in closer here. Okay, so so what we've got here is Mirko Obsessive. Okay, so he's Demir, obviously. He's a 1/3 flyer with Vig. He says, whenever you surveil, put a +1 counter on him. At the beginning of your end step, you may return target creature card with power less than Mirko's from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. I like it. This deck is more my style. I tried to play that Mothman deck, and it gives me a headache. You have to keep track of all your opponents' rad counters and all that kind of stuff. It's not my favorite. So here we go. Here we go with Mirko, Obsessive Theorist. We've got a Marvo Deep Operative Whenever he attacks, clash with defending player. Each clashing player reveals the top card of their library, then puts that card on top or bottom. A player wins if their card had a higher mana value. Whenever you win a clash, draw a card. Then you may cast a spell from your hand with mana value 8 or less without paying its mana cost. Interesting. An octopus rogue. Look at that. He's got in one of his little tentacles, he's got a sword there. That's hilarious to me. Okay, so I guess that's the other legendary creature guy that you could use there. Okay, so casting stuff for free is good. Next, we got Case of the Shifting Visage. At the beginning of your upkeep, Surveil 1. So solved, there are 15 or more cards in your graveyard. Solved, when you cast a non-legendary creature spell, copy that spell. The copy becomes a token. Okay. All right. Copy catchers. Flying, whenever you surveil, you may pay 1 blue and 1. If you do create a token that's a copy of copy catchers. Okay. All right. Final word, Phantom. Flash flying during each opponent's end step. You may cast spells as though they had flash. There you go. That's a good one. Spirit Detective. Watcher of Hours. He's a Sphinx flying ward 3. Whenever you remove a time counter from Watcher of Hours while it's exiled, Surveil 1. Suspend 6. You can actually play this guy for 1 blue and 1. Wow, second turn. And then he's got 6 suspend counters, and then he comes into play. Very interesting. Very interesting. Carnal Serenade. Surveil 3, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Exile Carnal Serenade with 3 time counters on it. You could also suspend 3 this spell as well. So, so Surveil 3 is basically putting cards from your library into your graveyard. Eye of Dusk Mantle. Flying Lifelink 3/8. You may play lands and cast spells from among cards in your graveyard you surveil this turn. If you cast a spell this way, you pay life equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. Oof, I don't know if I like that. Foreboding Steamboat. When it enters the battlefield, each player chooses 2 non-token, non-vehicle creatures they control. Exile them until the steamboat leaves the battlefield. Whenever Foreboding Steamboat attacks, put a card exiled with it into its owner's graveyard if you do investigate. Interesting. Interesting. Counterpoint. Counter target spell. You may cast a creature, instant, sorcery, or planeswalker spell from your graveyard with mana value less than or equal to that spell's mana value without paying its mana cost. I like that. I think that's a good card. I like that a lot. Late game, this deck seems reactive, with the surveilling and all that kind of stuff. I'm certain that there's going to be surveil counter spells and all that kind of stuff. Very interesting card that is, Yoda said. Unshakable Tail, Zombie Detective. When he enters battlefield at the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 1. Whenever 1 or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from your library, investigate. All right, 2 sack a clue. Return Unshakable Tail from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. All right. That's not too bad. Whenever 1 or more creature cards are put into your graveyard, you get to investigate. Interesting. Ransom Note. When it enters the battlefield, surveil 1. Sacrifice it. Choose 1. Cloak the top card of your library. Go target creature or draw a card. Okay. Anthem Mutineer. Salamander Pirate. When he enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target non-salamander creature. A creature controller creates a 4/3 Salamander Warrior creature token. Encore. Okay. All right. I guess that's removal. Make something worse, a little less worse. Dream Eater. Okay, this is an oldie but a goodie. Flash flying when he enters battlefield. Surveil 4. When you do, you may return target, non-land permanent, and owner controls to its owner's hand. Okay. Mission briefing. Yep. This is some oldies but goodies. Surveil 2, then choose an instant sorcerer card from your graveyard. You may cast it this turn. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Very good. Probably better than Snapcaster Mage. And okay, probably much cheaper too. Phyrexian Metamorph. Ooh, that's a good card. You may have Phyrexian Metamorph enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact or creature on the battlefield except this artifact in addition to its other types. So it's Phyrexian Blue and 3. Sphinx of the Second Sun. I love Sphinxes. Every once in a while you'll see a Sphinx tribal deck. Flying at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, there's an additional beginning phase after this phase. After the beginning of your pre-post. Okay. Vizier of Many Faces, you may have him enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except if he was embalmed, the token has no mana cost. It's white, and it's a zombie in addition to its other types. Okay, so that's an old Amonkhet card. Black Sun Zenith. Put X/1/1 counters on each creature. Shuffle it back into your library. I like that. That's a good card. Dogged Detective. When he enters the battlefield, Surveil 2. I have one of these guys in my Inwello the Painter deck. Whenever an opponent draws their second card each turn, you may return Dogged Detective from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah, so with an Inwello, you could casualty to him, double spells, and then you get to pop him out, everything. All right, there's a Doom Whisper in here. Flying Trample, pay 2 life, Surveil 2. This is one of the best cards in Commander, I think. He's a 6/6 for 5, Flying Trample. And then he surveils 2. It allows you to keep digging into your deck. You know, you have to pay 2 life. But it allows you to dig down for stuff that you need. Grave Titan. Another good card. Death Touch. Whenever he enters the battlefield or attacks, create 2 zombie tokens. Massacre Worm. Another good card. When he enters the battlefield, creatures your opponent gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Whenever a creature opponent dies, that player loses 2 life. Very good card. I'm really liking this deck. Overseer of the Damned. He's an oldie but a goodie. When he enters the battlefield, you may destroy target creature. Whenever non-token creature opponent controls dies, create a tapped 2/2 black zombie creature token. This guy's good against board wipes. He still works. If somebody board wipes, you all the creatures are killed, but you still make a bunch of zombies. Phyrexian Arena, another oldie but a goodie. And this is actually my favorite picture of the Phyrexian Arena. During your upkeep, pay a life, draw an extra card. Next, we've got Pile-On. Convoke. Your creatures can help cast the spell. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Surveil 2. I like it. I'm liking this deck. Reanimate. Another very good card. Put target creature card from a graveyard on the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to its mana value. Yeah, so with the Mothman deck, Rise of the Dark Realms. Wow, what a good card. It mills you, but it doesn't have any reanimation. You know, and the red counters, hit you for damage. So I find myself killing myself more, and there's no reanimation spells for the Mothman deck. I was actually thinking about putting a Rise of the Dark Realms in there and some other reanimate, animate dead type of cards. Toxic Deluge. Wow. Very good card. No, this is considered one of the best black removal spells there are. As an additional cost to cast a spell, pay X life. All creatures get -X until end of turn. Man, they've got some powerhouse cards in here. Twilight Prophet. 2/4 Ascend. If she has 2 or more permanents, you get the City's Blessing. At the beginning of her upkeep, if you have the City's Blessing, reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is that card's mana value. I actually played against a guy that had this, and he had it the whole game, and he kept picking up lands, and so we never got damaged. The whole game, he only did like 3 points of damage to us. Baleful Strix, another very good card. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, Flying Death Touch. And then we've got Connive and Concoct. Gain control of target creature with power 2 or less. Surveil 3, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh, nice. That's a good card. Lazav the Multifarious. Another thing I like is I like the art. The art with these is pretty good. When he enters the battlefield, Surveil 1, he becomes a copy of target creature card in your graveyard with mana value X, except its name is Lazav. It's legendary in addition to its other types, and it has this ability. So he becomes a copy. It doesn't say that it goes away. I think that stays until you change it again. X:. Master of Death, Zombie Wizard. When he enters battlefield, Surveil 2. At the beginning of your upkeep, if he is in your graveyard, you may pay 1 life. If you do, return it to your hand. Choked Estuary, Darkwater Catacombs, Drowned Yard Temple. This allows you to put this from your graveyard into play, which would be good for this deck since you're going to be throwing stuff like that into the graveyard. Hostile Desert, exile a land card from your graveyard. He becomes a 3/4 elemental creature. Till end of turn, River of Tears, Sunken Hollow, Dimir, Brainstorm, Consider, Surveil 1, draw a card, Curate, Surveil 2, draw a card, it's an instant. Deep Analysis, another good card. Enhanced Surveillance. You may look at an additional 2 cards each time you surveil. Exile it, shuffle your graveyard into your library. Aphara's Dispersal. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets an attacking creature. Return target creature to its owner's hand, Surveil 2. Okay. So you're going to be digging through your deck, getting what you want, putting everything else in the graveyard, and then you're going to be able to reanimate that stuff or use it later with flashback or something. Mold Drifter draws you 2 cards. Not Veil Sprite. Whenever he attacks, Surveil 1. Okay. Otherworldly Gaze, Surveil 3. Flashback. Okay, so look at the top 3 cards of your library, but put any of them in your graveyard and rest on top of your library in order. Thoughtbound Phantasm. He's a defender. He's a 2/2 defender. Whenever you surveil, put a 2/2 counter on him. As long as he has 3 or more counters on him, it can attack as though it didn't have defender. Okay. Animate Dead, an oldie but a goodie. Necromancy. Oof, this is a small novel. You may cast it as though it had flash. If you cast it at any time a sorcery couldn't have been cast, the controller of the permanent, it becomes sacrificed. When it enters the battlefield, it's on the battlefield, it becomes an aura with. Enchant creature, put on the battlefield with Necromancy, put target creature card from a graveyard. This is the old Necromancy. Gosh, the text that they have on these things now. This is an old card. Price of Fame. Costs 2 less to cast if it targets a legendary creature. Destroy target creature. Yeah, Necromancy is an oldie but a goodie from Visions. It's basically a animate dead, but you can use it at instant speed. If you do, then it goes away at the end of the turn. But if you use it as a sorcery, the creature stays out. Ravenous Chupacabra. Chups enters the battlefield. Destroy target creature and opponent controls. Shriekmaw, same thing. Fear. Destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature. Sinister Starfish. Surveil 1. If you tap him. Sir Conrad the Grim, another good card. Whenever another creature dies or a creature card is put in the graveyard from anywhere on the battlefield, Sir Conrad deals 1 damage to each opponent. Very good in this deck. Very good in this deck. Whispering Snitch. Whenever you surveil for the first time each turn, he deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. Oh, that's a good card. Demir Spybug. Flying Menace. Whenever you surveil, put a +1 counter on him. Then we've got Discovery, Dispersal, Surveil 2, then draw a card. Each opponent returns a non-land permanent they control with the highest mana value among partners they control to their owner's hand. They discards a card. Disinformation Campaign. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and each opponent discards a card. Whenever you surveil, return Disinformation Campaign to its owner's hand. Notion Rain. Surveil 2, draw 2 cards. It does 2 damage to you. Arcane Signet, Demir Signet, Everflowing Chalice, and enters battlefield with charge counters on it for each time it was kicked. Kick it for 2. Mind Stone, Soul Ring, because Soul Ring, Talus of Dominance for Demir. Thought Vessel, more cheap rocks. And that's it. All the rest is lands. Bajukaba, Command Trigger, Command Tower, Port of Carfell, sack it, mill your 4 cards, return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, Rogue's Passage, and that's pretty much it. So, very good deck. You know, we'd have to tweak it a little bit to make it stronger, but Mirko basically allows you to reanimate, and you're going to be digging for stuff that you need. So there you go. What I would do with this deck is I would put some delve things in here, like the Mirkwood Dragon. That allows, it's like 7 to cast, 2 blue, and 5. You could delve for 5, and it gets plus counters for however many you delved. So bam, he's going to be like a 10-10, 12-12, or something like that. That's what I would do. I can't wait to play this deck. My favorite deck right now is Locust God, and I love it because you just draw cards and make dudes and attack everywhere. That's how I'm going to do this as well. You know, surveil a bunch of cards, reanimate, and use them out of the graveyard. So there you go. I hope you liked my video. We're going to get on out of here. That's what this deck looks like. Murders at Karlov Manor. Let's see what... I like that it's called Karlov Manor. That's the old Boris Karlov. Boris Karlov was an old actor in the 30s when Universal was doing their monsters. He was the Mummy. And Bela Lugosi was Dracula, and Lon Chaney was Werewolf. So I like that. So this is the two cards we get: Menace, Massacre Girl, and Unauthorized Exit. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Surveil 1. Yeah. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you on the next Commander's Crypt New Orleans.